Thank you for joining us on video 3. This section is on the module 2, on how to get more work done. Let's go back to our screen and I'll show you what we're going to cover. We're going to talk about managing workflow so that you can actually get 8 hours of work done and possibly as low as 4 hours a day. That's what happens in our office. We do that because we've learned how to get work done fast, cheap, and accurately using a process called bottom-up delegation. This drives all of our tasks to the lowest possible cost per transaction. The important thing to remember here, and it's important that I explain this in detail, the important thing to remember in business is nothing happens that doesn't generate a piece of paper within 30 seconds. I mean, if somebody walks in and asks you to do something, you get a notepad out. If the phone rings, you grab a pink slip. If a bill comes in the mail, you get a check. If a customer calls on the phone, you grab an order form. Everything in business generates paper. If we can capture that paper, then we can manage the company. Let's take a look at our screen again, because what happens is the document goes in at the bottom. You've heard me talk about this before. I bill you 15 cents to read that document and assign it to the person in charge for determining who will do this work. Now, if it's accounting, we already know the data entry person at bookkeeping, so we'll send it directly to that person. If it's in production or marketing, then the in-office manager, in-office staff, or in-office manager may have to send the work up or down the skill chain. But every morning when your staff comes in, they'll simply go to this master dashboard, the same one that you're looking at, and they will click on their number. The next thing that happens is, here's the work that I need to do today. And we tell all of our staff to work from the bottom up, so they'll simply click the oldest document, the oldest piece of work, and then when they've clicked it, the page comes up. Remember, we use the left-hand column for naming, and we'll go ahead and use the right-hand column to track any work and make sure that we are leaving a trail behind of exactly what we did. One of the things that we do here that you may want to consider, especially for your staff people in the office, is to use dual monitors. We have our document up on the left screen along with our dialog box so that we understand what's going on. On the right side is our production software. That might be accounting software, our sales management software. It could even be a CAD/CAM program. But when a task comes available on the screen, your staff person has 3 quick choices. They can complete that task, or they can ask the customer that generated the task for a little bit more clarification because something they sent didn't make any sense, or they can delegate that task up the skill chain to the next level of staff person. So if there's something that they don't know how to do, and we have all of our people work on a rule of 2. If you're on it for more than 2 minutes, you don't know how to do it, bump it up to your boss. To get this done, it's actually quite simple. Delegating a piece of paper, all we have to do is reach over, and on our page status, from open, we'll click here and change it to review. Remember, review means that the document's moving up or down the skill chain. And then we will assign it to whatever person in our business, according to our business rules, should look at this piece of paper. And if they're working in a different category, let's say that you're in bookkeeping and we need to send it over to production or marketing, then we'll simply change the category from production to marketing, and the document will skip right over to that person. Now, there's something real important here. If you want to cut the amount of time it takes to get work done, use dual monitors. Research by Deloitte & Touche and MIT tells us that by going paperless, you will cut 25%. By going paperless, you'll cut 25% of back office labor. By going to dual monitors, you will drop an additional 25% of your labor for back office staff people. What that means is you will now get work done in 1/2 the time. And as we go into the next module, the on-the-fly operations manual, you might find that number even going down another 30 to 60 minutes a day. The next step we want to talk about in this section is easy communication. One of the things I really dislike about business is how many times we're running up and down the hall chatting about things, and that's creating this knowledge base of how we do things here. Most information on how things work in a business is transferred over a cup of coffee or at the water cooler or at lunchtime. And we're glad that that happens, but there's a couple of downsides. Number one, it's a friction point. When somebody comes down the hall and says, how do you want me to do this? They're not working, you're not working. The second really bad thing about knowledge being created that way is that when that person leaves, everything they know how to do leaves with them, and you get to start over. So one of the next steps that we're going to take in managing a faster, better, and cheaper business is to make sure that whenever we delegate tasks, ask for somebody to do something, we're always doing it online, attached to the piece of paper that created the need in the first place. So we're going to learn how to ask somebody to do a task, how to approve a transaction or event, how to track errors that happen in your company, and then how to remind the staff that there's something they should be doing every third Thursday or every Friday, some particular task. First, we'll cover assigning a task to your team. What you'll do is go to your Delegation Magic page, click on Task, that's right up here at the top, and then the task form pops up. You will simply click on the drop-down boxes to tell us what kind of task it is, write in the instructions, and then click Save. What'll happen next is that task becomes a document, and that document actually shows up on the person you assign the job to. It shows up on their workflow. And they'll be able to do what needs to be done, and they'll actually, if they need to, they can close it, or they will assign it back over to a different category or to a different staff person who in turn may complete the job and send it to you. But the nice thing is when tasks are generated, people aren't running up and down the hall. They're doing the job because it's sitting on their screen. They've got a whole list of things to do when they come in the morning. They do what they can. They send it to the next person to do what they can, so the job eventually ends up closed and completed. Moving a task up and down the skill chain is quite simple. All we need to do is click Page Status to Review, assign the page to the person that needs to look at it next. If they're in a different category than we are, if we're in bookkeeping and we want to send it to production, then we just change the category. Sometimes we have to get the manager to approve a transaction or an event. Maybe it's artwork that needs to be approved by somebody. Maybe we need to get our advertising campaign invoices approved before we're allowed to place the orders. This happens all day long in business. What we'd like to do is talk about how we can do this without running up and down the hall so that people can do the work without disrupting them. So let's go to our screen. We're going to approve a transaction or an event. Here is the invoice or the paperwork associated with this event. All I need to do is write in a description of what I need from the person that's going to make the approval, any questions or problems. They'll be able to read all the comments regarding this document. Maybe there's been a series of changes on an ad campaign, and they've been able to read these documents and changes in our comments box. We're writing up our next step. We need to approve, and then all we have to do is set the page status to review, set the staff person that needs to look at it. If they're in a different category, perhaps we're in marketing and we want somebody in production to look at this, then we just change this to production. When we hit save, the document moves to the correct staff person's task list. The next time they come in, they'll click work that they need to do today and they'll complete it. They'll approve it. If they need to send it back to bookkeeping, then we follow the same process and the document moves over to bookkeeping so the check can be issued. The next thing you can do with Delegation Magic is tracking errors in real time. This is a great way to find and fix bottlenecks in your business process. Now, this is really impactful in a small business because there are so many times that we have a staff person that comes to us every 2 or 3 days with some mistake, and we see that trend over and over and over. At the end of the quarter, the end of the year, they come in, they'd like to have a raise, and we just can't put our finger on what's wrong, but we know this isn't a good deal for us. If we were tracking mistakes over the course of the year, we could simply bring up the report and show this to our staff person. We'll look at the things that aren't being done correctly. But how about with our clients? The same things happen. There are some clients that cause more chaos and problems than they're worth. And if we had a consistent program to be able to track those in real time at the event, we'd be able to look at those clients and say, you've either got to go or we've got to charge you more. Let's go to our screen. I'll show you exactly how this works. Whenever we see an error that one of our staff people did or one of the clients caused, we want to be able to make a note. And all we do is just click on Comment Errors and write a note to ourselves. Then, at any time, we can go to Reports and we can actually see the report. We can index it by client. We can see the report of the errors that happened over the course of a short period of time. We can click on any particular error and it pops up. And if you see an error 3 times in a row, you want to fix your processes, You want to fix your process if you see an error over and over, because something's wrong that's causing this problem. Maybe we have to go back and re-engineer our business deliverables. But if we see an error, there are several things we can do. Fix our processes, or we can actually write instructions on how to prevent that error in the future so our staff knows exactly how you want things done. And of course, we strongly recommend that you send notices of all your updated help files to all of your staff people and tell them to look into this every day. If there are new help files that have been posted by you, you want your staff to be aware of it. And then of course, let's go back to the screen because I want to talk about the final event. If you find that it's a client and the client just consistently causes problems, you may want to, as a last resort, get a better client. The next benefit of Delegation Magic is that you can create a repetitive job or task list that needs to be done by a specific person on a schedule. Now, the big advantage to this is everybody has tasks that need to be done by a staff person on a regular basis. Maybe once a month you need to do maintenance on a piece of office equipment. Or on the 15th of each month you need to do the bank reconciliation for a customer or for yourself. But this is something that has to be done repetitively. And if we had a task list, then each morning when your staff came in on the appropriate day, that job would pop up on the screen. Let me show you exactly how to set that up. If you go to Tasks on your Delegation Magic and then click on Repetitive Tasks, you'll find a new box pops up with a schedule, and simply select, I need this done monthly, and as soon as you click monthly, a date column will pop up and you can see I need it done on the 15th. And then write in instructions on what you need done. When your staff person comes to work, they'll simply click on the task. Your electronic message turns into an electronic piece of paper describing what you need done exactly. As a matter of fact, if you'd like, you can even attach a help file on how you want it done. Help files can be done in flowcharting software, spreadsheets, in a Word document, or my favorite is to just create a small little video clip. Then when your staff comes in, they know exactly what's expected of them and they know exactly how to get it done. Let's go back to the screen because at any time you can click on your task list, your repetitive task list, and you will see a list of all those jobs that you expect to get done on a particular schedule, and this allows you to edit or modify those tasks at the appropriate moment. Developing a task list like this allows you to have some control on when people get things done and a check system to make sure that they got done on time. Using Delegation Magic allows you to build a faster, better, and cheaper business. Now, if you'd like to learn more about how we build the operations manual, build those little help files, then go on to the next video, video 4, on creating an on-the-fly operations manual. Thank you. This is Casey Truby at Delegation Magic. We work here to keep your cash register ringing.